Hey, Ranger Nation! Welcome back to Comic Book Theater. Tonight, I'm going to be reviewing the Season 1, Episode 5 of Beast Morphers titled Taking Care of Business. And this is a Devin-centric episode. So, we had the first two episodes, which were kind of a setup of the team episode. Then we had the third episode, which was a Zoe episode. Fourth, last week was Ravi's episode. This week is Devin's episode. So let's get right into it. So with this episode, what happened in this episode was Devin had to go get his job because his father can't know that he's a ranger, and his father doesn't want him to be lazy and unmotivated or anything like that. So he wants him to be a productive member of society and, not fall behind in everything. So he wants them to have a job and have responsibility the way he did when he was younger, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to because their parents probably want them to do the same thing, to work hard for their money, And he gets them a job at a car wash, Sludgy's car wash, and Devin tries his best to do what he can for his father. And his father actually, bonds with him over this. They're starting to bond. His father started out as a job similar to it. So his father, worked his way up. That's how he paid for dates with Devin's mother. And I think he wanted his son to get a good work ethic, because he's the mayor, so he's probably a man of means, which means that Devin, he probably doesn't want him to be, a spoiled child. He wants him to, actually work for money and learn the meaning of money and all that. So he's trying to do that, but at the same time, he's trying to balance his responsibility of being the Red Ranger, which is the leader of the Power Rangers. And just as he's working, he has to take off his wrist comm and he puts his cell phone down, so this way they don't get wet with the water. Which he definitely does not live in an urban city like Philadelphia, because if he would have put down his cell phone, an iPhone like that, on a chair at a car wash, that would have been stolen. I'm just saying. You don't put your cell phones down and not have, them stolen. You just don't do that. Not in a public place where all those people are coming and going like that. So, you just don't do that in the city. But anyway, so he doesn't hear the alert that there's an attack. And it's Blaze who had an idea to actually get more and more facts for Evox, so this way they can bring him out of his trap and put him in his new body. And his plan is to actually slice into a Morphex tower and drain it right from there, instead of stealing all these little maybe a liter or a gallon of it. He wants to attack a big plant that has a whole bunch of it, tons of it, in fact. And I know it's not the right measurement, but that's what they used in here. So he goes and he sets up the attack, and he sends out the Slicertron, and they sort of handle him, but Devin eventually does come help them out a little, and they go back. He has to go back to work because he took his lunch break to come and help them. And then when he comes back, his dad's there, and his dad helps him, and they have this really good bonding moment, And I love that moment because I'm such a sucker for a good father and son story that whenever I see something like this, I really do enjoy it. So that was my favorite part of this whole episode, the father and son moments, because I really can relate to them. I really enjoy them. And again, a sucker for a father-son episode or a mother-daughter, any time of a parental-child bonding episode. I really love those type of stories. So when he goes back, he also, Ravi and Zoe decide they're going to help him so this way he can get caught up and he can, they can be together. So they have a good time. They all leave their wrist comms and their phones out, which, Devin didn't learn. No one learned from Devin's mistake in the beginning where he didn't have it and he didn't hear them. So they all decide, hey, let's all do it now. Let's not have one of us, take a break and monitor them and just in case. No, let's just all go and do it. So this time, the cyclotron, the Slicertron is attacking and the Slicer drone is attacking at the same time. So Ravi and Zoe go after the Slicertron, and Devin goes after the Slicer drone, and he has to use his Zord. And after his Zord gets frozen, which I like that they didn't do the whole oh, he saw a dog again. It was something different this time. It was an attack by it, and that's why he couldn't do it. He had a reboot, and Commander Shaw sends in Jax and Smash to pilot the Zords remotely, by themselves to help Devin out with the Slicer drone. And still, they have not formed a Megazord, which I think is really cool that they haven't done it yet, because this is the longest in Power Rangers that we've ever had no Megazord yet. I mean, yeah, we have Zords, but we have no real Megazord yet. There's no Megazord action. Normally, within the first couple episodes, you have it. We're going into episode 6 next week, and we still have not seen the Megazord yet, which is pretty cool, We're definitely going to get it, though, before the mid-season finale. So Devin comes up with the idea that because Nate the B plot is that Ben and Betty Burke's father is I think he was he? I can't think. I can't think of his rank right now. Anyway, he's a Commander Shaw's superior, and he goes there and he's says, "Oh, my kids have a great idea," and their idea was to take Tronics spare parts and make them into other things to help them. And what they did was they created this weird Tronic human dog thing. It was supposed to be a dog, but it was like a Tronic just on all fours and had feet for hands. So it looked really, really weird. And of course, Betty and Ben, they always screw up. And it winds up attacking Ben, and they had to shut it down and all that. But it gives Nate an idea to not go after the Tronics, but go after the Giga drones, because they could have some technology that they could use for stuff. So they go and they start collecting all this technology from all these old pieces of Giga drones, but none of them work because they've been destroyed. So they need a working Giga drones to work with. And that's where we come in with the fight, where they're trying to. Devin's plan is to take the Giga drone in, unharmed, just knock it down, freeze it up, so this way Nate can take it apart and see how it works. And it goes successfully with the help of Smash and Jax and Devin. They get it. Ravi and Zoe defeat the Slicertron. Devin incapacitates the Slicer drone. They get away. It's all good. And Devin had got fired because he had to leave his job for the second or third time now. And the boss was like, you know what? I don't care who you are. You have to leave. During the attack, the father actually saw the Rangers fighting some of the Giga, fighting the Tronics, and he's impressed by it. So but he's not impressed by Devin, and he lets Devin know that, he's a disappointment and everything. And Devin's feeling really bad because he wanted to keep the job because it was the first time that it was the first time his father ever really felt proud of him. And now his dad doesn't. His dad thinks he's just a goof off who'd rather go play video games. Now this is the part I really had a problem with because Commander Shaw was the one who came and got them. So first of all, she's being seen with these kids. Devin walks around with a wrist comm on, which is so far only been seen as a grid battle force thing. No one on the street is walking around with wrist comms. Only the grid battle force personnel do. So Devin's father doesn't realize that his son works for them. Like, why not just say that he works with Zoe? And with him hanging out with Zoe, why not just say that he got a job at Grid Battle Force in laundry with Zoe, That would be a perfect excuse. Yeah, and it's a low entry level job, working in a laundry room, just like his father wanted him to do some real manual labor. He's doing it. He's getting the work ethic. He's getting the work experience. Commander Shaw just has to say, yeah, he works here with us. Or, he's working with Ben and Betty. They float around, and so is he. He's a floater. He works all around. But, I mean, it will explain so much. And maybe they'll do that later on, but I hope they do. Because that's something that really, needs to be fixed. It's just, I don't want that to be a theme, like, where the father's always like, oh, you don't work. And he's like, oh, Dad, I'm trying to, play a video game, I don't want that to be the thing. So, but at the news conference after the fight and all, Mayor Daniels gets on TV and he says how proud he is of the Power Rangers, which, Devin takes a little bit of insurance of that his father does actually like him. His father actually does, is proud of him, but he just can't tell his father that it's him yet. So overall, it was a pretty good, solid episode. I'm going to give it 4 stars because, again, the whole risk comp thing was just dumb. I mean, sure, you do it the first time, you learn your lesson. That's okay, But them all doing it the second time, like, that was just some lazy stuff. Like, why not just have Zoe sit out for one car and Robbie and Devin do it, and then have Devin sit out. Well, not Devin, because he's actually the employee. Have Robbie sit out and have Zoe and Devin do it. Trade back and forth this way. Someone is always monitoring the risk comms to make sure that no one's doing it. But it was all just so Blaze and the Slicertron can destroy the risk comms, which, again, destroyed them. But, like, they destroy their risk comms and their cell phones, but why? It's like you could do so much more damage to them if you attack them in public. But it was still a good episode. Again, I really like the fact that this team seems more genuine than the previous teams. Like, they have a real connection. They still haven't all like, oh, we're all like this big group of friends yet. They're still trying to work on that. So I like that. I like that they're not best buddies yet. They're people who barely know each other, who are starting to get to know each other, and they're starting to bond. And that's what I liked about this episode. You saw them starting to bond a little bit. We also got to see a little bit of the Silver Ranger B-Spot, the B-Spot of the Silver Ranger, which is, again, the Silver Ranger before he morphs. And maybe I have a theory on how that could happen. Like, if Nate gets transported into Evox's world or something, he can, because in Go Busters, they break into the warehouse, which is holding the Slicer drone, right? That's how it happens. The Slicer drone breaks out, and it's going to blow up the whole thing, and everything's going to happen. And the Red Ranger has to get out. The Red Ranger gets out and pretty much saves the day by opening the hatch on the top so everybody else can get out, and the Slicer drone which is a different name in Go Busters, but blows up, you know, and the hangar bay blows up too. So my theory is maybe it's going to be something like that, but it's going to be one of those transport things again, like they did with Blaze and Roxy, and this time maybe, or maybe Nate is in there and Nate tries to transport himself, because again, it hasn't always worked with transporting people, and he winds up in the dimension or something, and while he's there, he uses the time to create his Beast Buddy, and the Beast Buddy, I mean, the Beast Bot could be, you know, he doesn't have any DNA on hand to activate the Beast Bot, so he uses his own DNA, you know, he doesn't have any animal DNA, so he uses his own, and with that, that's how the Beast Bot is different, and he becomes a little bit more human, and you know, Nate has a little brother at the side. So that's my little theory on how that's going to happen. We'll see in the next couple episodes how that happens. But that's my little theory. And then with episode 8, I think that's when you'll see the emergence of the Gold Ranger and the Silver Ranger. So I'm looking forward to it. This was, again, a solid episode. 4 out of 5 power bolts. I love Zoe in here. I love Ravi in here. I really love Devin in here, because I think this is the first time we actually got to see Devin not being, ooh, we got video games. Ooh, I want that blaster. You know, like not being that game mindset. You know, he's actually really he's being responsible here. So that's what I really liked about it. All right, so thank you for checking this out. I'll be back with more stuff tomorrow. I should have, or Monday, tomorrow night or Monday, I should have a review of the Beast Bots, actually, which is going to be Cruise and Smash. So stay tuned for them. Check out my reviews of the Beast X Morpher and the first wave of basic action figures. That's up on here. I also did a little video on the down, you know, the little silver zippers. I added the silver to it for mine, and it was very cheap to do it. So check out that video, and check out comicfrontline.com, where it's my group channel where we talk about comic books every week, the news of comic books, anything in geek culture. Actually, you can join our top 5 discussion by joining our Discord at on Comic Frontline. Check out comicfrontline.com. You'll see the Discord link there. You can join our Discord. Also, on comicfrontline.com, there is a giveaway going on for Little Victory's YouTube channel, so you can check that out. She's giving away a Into the Spider-Verse set, which is the Into the Spider-Verse DVD, a Rock Candy Funko Spider-Gwen, and a Spider-Gwen Year Zero trade paperback. So go check them out. It's a really cool giveaway this month. And stay tuned for Comic Frontline on YouTube, Comic Book Theater on YouTube. I've got some more stuff coming up, including a TJIF event thing that I'm going to be doing. So that will be coming out. I'll be announcing that soon. And just a little teaser over on the Discord if you want to check that out. And that's it. So until next time, as always, may the power protect you.